What's that?
I said it's so intimate.
I know it is. It is. Wow, this is a real camera 1, camera 2, camera 3 situation.
Oh yeah, you're completely surrounded.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Good to go? Okay. Recording. We can. Okay, this is it. This is some great behind the scenes action you're getting to see here. Hello! Yes, make some noise! We need some big energy to fill this big space. Hi, I'm Trevor Campbell, and this is You Made Me Queer, the show where queer folks throw on their best Count Chocula cosplay to reveal that we actually don't care about equality, we just want marshmallows for breakfast. Every episode of this show, I invite on a fantastic 2S LGBTQIA plus guest to point their finger of blame at who and or what made them queer. You might be thinking, wait, but aren't people just born that way? Isn't that sort of what all the activism was about? And you're wrong. We know that now. We know that, in our educated era, with the internet, with Wikipedia, we can trace things back to the source, that something was making people queer. That was certainly my experience. And I have a lot of anger about it. I'm retribution-based. And that's basically how I find my guests. I seek out people who've got a bone to pick, and I put them in front of a microphone. That's what we do. So normally, this is a podcast. I am here through the beautiful people at the Sonar Network. Can I get a round of applause? We are sponsored this weekend by Libsyn. Check out Libsyn. What's Libsyn? I'm not going to do all the work for you. You can find out what Libsyn is, but Libsyn is a fantastic podcast broadcast service. So if you have a podcast idea of your own, and I'm sure you do, I'm looking at the two of you, I know you've got a podcast brewing in your brains. Check out Libsyn, promo code Libsyn. That's not actually the promo code. You can check it out. We're also here, if you were just listening later and not in the room, at beautiful Canada FanExpo. Ooh, in the Toronto Metro Convention Center, like a 9-level arena/dungeon, if we're being honest. We're so far underground right now, any weather system could be happening and we would have no idea. Snowstorms, meteors, floods, who knows what you'll find on your way out. If this is your last day, I hope you enjoy it. Have a hot dog, buy some nice merch. That's a bit bleak to start, huh?
I thought you meant if this is your last day on Earth. Like
that's what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
But maybe that's the wrong tone to start with.
This is your last day. If there is indeed an apocalypse happening outside of this dungeon,
then I say go big. Buy that $700 action figure you've been dreaming of. If not now, when, is my point. But I digress, and my guest has already spoken because I'm taking too long. My guest should already be speaking, so let me introduce my fantastic guest, who you can see on the screen. You already know their name. She is a Canadian actress, writer, producer, and singer. Is that not correct?
That's what Wikipedia says.
I mean,
alleged singer.
okay. I mean, maybe it'll come up in this conversation. Maybe there's a song brewing inside of you. Anyway,
There are
I digress.
many things brewing inside of me.
There's a lot brewing. Who rose to international fame? We're still talking about Natasha. There was an ellipsis in there. Rose to international fame for portraying Camilla Karnstein in the web series Camilla. And it was so successful in the 2017 feature film based on the series, The Camilla Movie. She's also a Canadian Screen Award winner. No big deal. Who isn't in this room? As I look around, I can see her sticking out of your bag right there, your Canadian Screen Award. But that's who she is. Please put your hands together and welcome to You Made Me Queer, Natasha Negovalnis.
I like that. I like the very like Euro spin you put on. Vanlis.
When I approach a word when I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, like Karnstein, I'm like, go big.
I love it. Yeah.
Thanks.
I had been saying Camilla Karnstein the entire series, as did everyone, and I think we were saying her name wrong the entire time, which, as someone with a very long ethnic last name, is like my worst nightmare. So, yeah.
At first, I thought you were dragging me for mispronouncing it wrong, but now I see that you're saying that I was correct. That you need to reshoot the show because everyone said the last name wrong.
Everyone did, yeah. We should reshoot for sure.
100%. That's fine. The sequel of the movie, I'm sure everyone's been writing furiously. We've all been stuck in our hovels for 2 years. COVID.
What? No, there's no sequel. There's no sequel. I gotta shut that down.
It's done.
I don't know. I wish there was. I'd love to be employed. But no, sadly it did. Yeah, the movie did end on quite a cliffhanger 5 years ago, and I don't know what happened.
It's who knows what's coming up next, but also I'm sure you want to, you're known and beloved for playing this vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And, as Wikipedia told us, you have so many other things you do, so you probably want to break out of that typecast, yeah?
You know what's funny? I had a day on set last weekend in a film where I played a very gothic tarot reader who looked like Nancy from The Craft.
Like a little black velvet choker necklace?
We had like multiple chain layers, not unlike what I'm wearing now, and I've realized this is an audio format, but we're at a live show.
It's
Folks
fine.
can see. Tons of black lipstick. And when the makeup artist was like, "Oh, have you done have you had goth makeup done on you before?" I was like, "Have I?"
Only black on this face. Smoky eyes, smoky everything, just like in this photo. Was this taken related to? Was this predate Camilla?
No, I mean, it's my actor headshot. I guess I'm typecast for a reason,
You do play a vampire very well.
Yeah, I mean, no one was surprised. Let's just say that when I was cast as a lesbian vampire.
Well, I think this is actually the perfect segue because we think about, the roles people imagine for us, the roles we're thrust into, the ways life typecasts us, if you will. And I think that's a perfect parallel for queerness, too. Because as much as maybe when we're growing up, we want to become anything and break out of our box, we sit too close to the TV, we maybe drink a little bit too much Kool-Aid that's not diluted properly and get too many flavor crystals. Now we know all those things were making us queer.
Yes, yeah.
So, we were typecast from that, but that's why I've invited you here. I've let you choose one of many microphones at this table, and myself as well, to point the finger of blame once and for all, Natasha, who and or what made you queer?
Oh, there are so many things. I mean, being a child of the 90s, I have to say, Sailor Moon.
Oh, yes. 100%. I can't believe there was not like a roar of applause for Sailor Moon. Does anyone know what Sailor Moon is? Great, yes, 100%. I've seen at FanExpo many Sailor Moons myself today.
Yeah, okay, so not Sailor Moon herself. She was not really my style, but I loved Sailor Jupiter. And in reality, I think it's because, like, as a kid, it was like, oh, I want to be like Sailor Jupiter, you know? But in reality, I think I had a little cartoon crush on Sailor Jupiter because we all know, let's face it, I'm a Mars. I'm Sailor Mars.
Yeah.
I
And
was
not
a
just
s-
because of the black hair.
No, no. I'm an Aries. I was a singer.
Wikipedia says so.
I hate most men. And I have rage issues, just like Sailor Mars.
I think she was known for other qualities beyond that too, but yes, I remember Jupiter's green, right?
Yes.
Okay. She get the cute little like bobble in her ponytail.
Cute little baubles. There were
Sporty.
also so many queer storylines as well, and some non-binary Sailor Scouts.
Yeah.
You know,
and
as a bi pansexual, you know, it was, you know, you had Tuxedo Mask, very dashing.
oh,
but
I'm familiar
also,
with
like,
Tuxedo Mask.
yes,
Thank you very much.
but also a little femme. Let's
Yeah.
be real. So,
Yeah.
you know, we had a little bit of everything for all sides of my orientation.
Sailor Moon really is like for anyone to watch that. And the original Japanese version had a bit more of that. And then when it came to North America, they were like, there's no need for it to be this queer
Yeah, the
necessarily.
Puritan vibes took over.
They watered it down. But certainly so much of that. I mean, I rewatched it recently because I had the pleasure of at Comic-Con hosting the Sailor Moon voice actor reunion panel.
That's so fun.
It was great. They're good peeps. But I rewatched it. Some of it holds up really well. There's a lot of like, if I lose 10 pounds, I'll find love talk.
Yeah. That's what Sailor Moon herself. There was.
You're right, it's Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
She's
she was
the
a little
problem.
problematic. I mean, I'm sorry to cancers, but I think she must have been a cancer, right? 'Cause-
Shut down. Are you a Cancer? Someone just
Oh, no.
audibly gasped.
oh no, I'm so sorry. Look, I'm friends with cancer. Some
It's-
of my friends are cancers.
It's great. You're not getting canceled.
No,
This
I'm-
is
no, I'm not
totally
personally,
fine.
yeah.
We like you
My
just
best
as you
friend
are.
is a cancer. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, Sailor Moon, she had a lot of feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're right. And it's also a product of the 70s and 80s where, we weren't as enlightened as we are now about things like misogyny or, body positivity. But great Jupiter. So that's a good one. So how old were you the first time you saw this show?
I must have been like 6 or 7, maybe. And I definitely remember having like a cool teen, like goth teen babysitter who drew very well and would like draw a lot of anime characters. And then I was like, oh, this is cool. So
Were you like, draw one of Sailor Jupiter kissing me on the cheek? Any commissions?
oh my gosh, I wish. But then I got really into like trying to learn how to draw for a while as a kid. And then I remember being like, why do I only draw women? And I was like, maybe it's because like I'm a woman, so I guess I just draw what I know. And then I tried to force myself to like draw a handsome dude, but it just didn't work out. And I went back to
Right. Your heart wasn't
drawing
into it.
boobs.
That's funny, actually, because when I remember, I was an okay drawer as a kid, but I remember in grade 9, I did a book report on Amy Tan's The Joy Luck Club. Just what every 13-year-old queer kid reaches for in an English class, instead of all the books about like war or like boys with hatchets and dogs. I was like, this story about cross-generational Chinese diaspora essentially really connects with me growing up in Oakville, Ontario. But anyway, I had to draw this picture because there had to be like an artifact. So I was like, oh, I'll draw the Polaroid from the end. There's like it's not important. But I drew it, and I wasn't good enough to really let the viewer know the difference between men and women. So when I drew women, I just gave them huge boobs to make it clear, like, my drawing can't do this, but this will do this. And I remember that specifically, I got in a lot of trouble because the class was like, why are you drawing the boobs so big on women, you misogynist 13-year-old bastard? And I was like, I'm not a boob man. Spoiler. If only you knew. Anyway, sorry about that. Sorry, Amy Tan. Is my point.
Oh.
But your drawings sound... This isn't about my therapy.
They were like tasteful handfuls. They weren't that large.
Are you are you talking about Sailor Jupiter's boobs?
No, the boobs of my drawings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tasteful handfuls. Of course. What about your babysitter's drawings? What were the boobs like? Is that where we are?
Oddly, I can't recall.
Oh.
But, it inspired me. So let's blame both Sailor Moon and the babysitter for
Yeah.
my queer awakening.
And also, like, a babysitter, depending on the babysitter, they could be so cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so second thing to make me queer. It's kind of embarrassing now that these are all cartoons now.
That's not embarrassing.
But my first, on-screen queer crush, I'm pretty sure, was Bart's babysitter, Laura. Laura Powers, I think her name was.
Okay.
Okay, look it up. If you look at a picture of her, you'll understand why. And she was a cool babysitter.
Okay, because when I think of Simpsons babysitter,
Oh, you think of the
do you remember the one who's it's
one who
like
was,
belt as bra?
Mhm.
Was her sort of dress concept. She was just like pants up to here.
not that babysitter.
Was
to
she a
clarify.
babysitter?
Yeah,
was
there
like-
was the bad babysitter, but then there was the cool neighbor babysitter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then she rips out Bart's heart.
Because Bart falls in love with her.
Yes.
She doesn't actually rip the heart out. There's like a dream sequence.
She is giving very intense bi energy,
Yeah. Yeah. So
And-
go ahead.
Oh no, and then she ends up with Jimbo, I think. Was that his
Jimbo
name?
the clown?
Wait, not Jimbo.
No, Jimbo the guy with the beanie.
Yeah,
And
that's
the skull
his
on his
name.
shirt.
Yeah,
Oh, what a slam.
I know.
Jimbo's pretty cool though.
Yeah, but he was too cool though.
He's with the bad guys where like the really bad bully, who is hair not dissimilar to mine, was the mean one, but then Jimbo was the one who just kind of goes along with it, but in the right crowd is probably a cool guy. But
maybe.
maybe a bit too cool.
Yeah.
He's a Cancer.
Actually, it would check out that he would be.
I
you know,
mean,
yeah.
listen. What sign are you? Say again. Aries?
Mhm.
That's a good one. I'm Sagittarius.
Mm.
We're both fire signs?
There's too much spice on this.
There's
Okay,
so
this
much
panel.
spice. Can you feel the heat?
We're gonna fight.
Ah. Okay, so how old were so we started with Sailor Moon. You were about 6.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when this Simpsons babysitter comes storming in?
I think it was around the same time, maybe a
Okay.
little bit older. a little-
Cartoons coming hot.
Yeah, I was definitely too young to be watching The Simpsons, depending on, which kind of household you grew up in, what kind of household you grew up in. But my brother is 6 years younger than me, and he was colic. And so the only thing that would make him stop crying was putting on old VHSs of The Simpsons. So, old classic Simpsons was a big part of our lives.
Yeah.
But, my mom was really great. She was like, if they're old enough to, if they ask questions, I'm going to answer the questions. And she was all about, letting us watch, quote unquote, adult content as long as we had, a discussion about it after,
That's so mature. So
great.
were they strict otherwise, or generally we just want to? It's a learning experience.
Strict. See, I don't know. Strict in what way? My mother was very strict about doing well in school.
Okay.
And that was it.
And then you could just watch anything you wanted as long as it was contextualized after.
Yes.
Okay.
As long as there was a philosophical conversation.
Right. For us, I was raised Catholic, so if something is coming down the highway that maybe has anything you don't want to talk about, you just pretend it's not happening. A lot of denial in my
great
house.
tactic. I've heard that doesn't create any problems later.
It
in
worked
life.
out so well for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. When I received therapy benefits through where I was working,
Wow.
Yeah, because
brag.
I know what a
Brag, why
flex,
don't
right?
you?
I get there's a 50% covered for my psychotherapy. No, but I was one of those folks who's like, I'm fine. My parents are crazy in different ways, so they canceled each other out, and I'm fine. And then minute 3 of therapy, when you're like, oh, I'm broken inside. Now I understand.
Yeah. I always think about that if I ever have kids. It's no matter how much I'm gonna break the cycles of generational trauma. It's no, I'm gonna mess up a child for sure.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna try too hard and love them so hard that no person will ever be good enough for them. That sounds healthy.
Nothing could go wrong there. No, I think it's fine. And I have a theory I'm testing out where from the ages of 4 to 6, you let the kid go. So you raise them they know how to feed themselves. They know they don't use diapers anymore, etc. And then 4 to 6 is go into the world for a bit. At 6, you get to come back. So you have like a bit of independence and a bit of like
a walkabout.
it's a walkabout from 4 to 6. Is anyone against this? It sounds great for me. Any parents in the back just leave in a huff? It's fine. What's the worst that can happen?
See, I wouldn't do that. I'm not super into babies, so I kind of just like want a 4-year-old already.
Well, then you send them out from 1 to 4.
From 1, yeah. So someone sends them out into the world from 4 to 6. They send them to me, and then when they're not cute anymore, they turn 7, and I send them back.
I think we've started a low-key business here.
That sounds nice.
That's right,
Yeah.
where people send their children to you from 4 to 6,
Mm-hmm.
but you're afraid you're going to mess them up. And you know what? And that's on them if that happens. And then off they go. But we digress.
I might, well, I'll probably just turn them queer.
Well, I was going to say,
Yeah.
put them in front of The Simpsons, for God's sake.
I
Laura
know.
Power, was that her name?
Yeah, Laura
babysitter?
Powers, yeah.
So you were also 6. So we've got a lot of cartoons. But the babysitter themselves, did you have a crush on the sitter?
No.
Okay.
I can't say that I did. I can't, yeah.
That's fine.
Can't say that I did.
And where was this?
This was in Toronto.
Okay. Was she like a cool Toronto?
But she was definitely, yeah, like
Girl.
I feel like I have this memory of her being like, the cool, like, gothy
Yes.
anime drawing.
And that's a niche hit. I mean, you
That-
know
yeah.
what? That's the next generation of that babysitter is at FanExpo.
Yes.
Yeah, the goth anime drawing.
Well, then I morphed into her, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, I wonder if she's also here, because if those were her interests, and she'd be like 15 years older than you, approx?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so she's 27.
Oh, yeah, that's so nice.
Ayo!
She's 350.
Oh my God. Well, you are a vampire, so that tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So where did we go from there? So we're 6 across the board. Was the damage done, or were things making you queer afterwards?
So many things. Oh my gosh. Well, a big one. I mean, I started playing softball real young.
Come on.
And everybody knows especially that's the bisexual rite of passage. Is
Softball?
Softball, yeah. So I played softball from about 8 to 14, 15.
Okay.
and
Was
there,
it
yeah.
a gender team?
Yes, it was a women's team, a girls' team. Women's, no. No one should ever refer to a 14-year-old as a woman. That is incorrect. No, yeah, it was a girls' softball team.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, like, the star player, I was, like, I thought was so cool. And I would hang out with her all the time. And then I was, like, I just wanted to, like, hang out with her so much, like, all the time. And I justified it by being like, well, she's, like, a boy. She's basically a boy, before
because
I
softball?
because she was so good at softball.
Yeah.
She was such a tomboy.
Okay.
She like kind of looked like a Hanson brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So for folks who maybe that reference doesn't make your heart catch on fire, the Hansons all had this sort of like beachy California,
Yeah.
just jumped off a surfboard, but they were like young.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because Hansons, I think, are queer bait too, in that when Mbop came out,
Mm-hmm.
everyone remembers where they were when they heard Mbop. All the Gen Zs here are like, what's an Mbop? So this song came out, and I remember Taylor Hanson, who's the middle Hanson sibling. The name is sort of like, could be either gender or like, it's gender non-specific.
Yeah.
And all the boys in my class were like, Taylor's so hot, man. Taylor Hanson's the hottest girl ever. And we didn't have the internet, so there was no way to know who Taylor Hanson was. And then people found out Taylor Hanson was a boy, and there were a lot of very confused, sort of like boys keeping quiet for the next few weeks, hoping we forgot that they were crushing on Taylor Hanson.
Well, that's the thing. If you look at all like boy bands, especially from the 90s, but even like the early aughts, it's like the teen heartthrob that all the girls pined after always looked like a lesbian. This is
true.
a fact. There was a whole Tumblr that was like lesbians who look like Justin Bieber that came out around the same time I absolutely had that haircut.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's like a early Tegan and Sarah kind of
Yes.
bang sweep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Super short bang sweep. But you look back because you look at like the Backstreet Boys, Nick Carter.
Mhm.
Who else were the heartthrobs of the 90s?
Well, like Leonardo DiCaprio at that time had also the
Mhm.
same. They had this sort of like shoulder length situation.
yeah.
Where it was like a 90s heartthrob actor, or like the temp secretary at the dentist office. Sort
Yeah.
of the look.
Yeah, absolutely. Both, one and the same.
Well, I know.
It's yeah. So I think it's like gender is a construct anyway, and so
We know this
But
now.
I just find it curious that all girls that I knew anyway had crushes on male pop stars that looked like girls. Hmm?
And it also, yes, and also your softball captain looked the same. Like, also, I'm obsessed with this idea. What was the name of the team? Was it something super sapphic too, like the clamshells?
Oh my gosh, no, it was by district. I wish it was though. That would have been amazing. Oh my gosh.
Do you remember? So it was just called like North York. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Ah,
It was Guildwood girls softball.
That is a bit of poetry too.
Yeah, it was quite beautiful. I think one year we were sponsored by like McDonald's or
Right.
something.
Oh, you always hope you get a cool sponsor too.
I know it was really lame when you got like Larry's like window paneling or.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. You're like, I'm trying to be hot.
But yeah, softball definitely. That definitely, yeah, just really turned me.
And what was your position? Is that too personal of a question?
Wow.
Wow,
We're
we've gotten
already
there.
there on the bases chats. No, I played catcher mostly.
Okay.
But it was when you could steal home plate. So
What does that mean?
So people could just, run off third and just run and steal home, even if the ball wasn't hit or if there was like a foul, they could lead off. So, I had bloody elbows for a long time.
Yeah, because you had to be ready and like, bear with me with a sports reference, but you had to, as the catcher, if someone's running to home from third base, you got to be ready to catch the ball.
Yeah.
To get them out.
Tag them out.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, the gal who shall not be named that I had a huge crush on, she was the pitcher. So there was a symbiotic relationship going on there. And she could throw like a 70-mile-per-hour softball underhand.
That-
It was
So like
it's
beyond
a beautiful
softball,
relationship.
that is such a power dynamic there,
Mhm.
where you're just like locking eye contact with her the entire game,
Mhm.
and then there's just like the kinetic energy between the two of you,
I know.
and your knee. What was bloody? Your elbows?
My elbows.
Why? Why?
Because girls would slide into
Oh, okay, I get it. So you had to be like,
home.
don't
and-
do it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I have basically been this size forever. So
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'3".
Perfect. So you peaked at softball.
I did. It's softball, responsible for making me bi and also very small. Just stop. No, that's because my mom fornicated with a hobbit. But
Whoa. That's a completely different podcast. That's not
That's-
what we do here.
yeah, no.
I'm sure that's happening at some point this
It's like
weekend.
a classic like Addams Family like combination, like Morticia. Just picture like Morticia and like Gomez.
Yes.
Just like a weird gremlin with this like tall knockout, and that's how I became
You were
alive.
It's the pitcher catcher dynamic.
Yeah.
The Morticia Gomez. What a power couple.
Yeah.
Oh, do you know I
They're
just read?
divorced. Anyway, what?
They're the best because I.
My parents.
That was great. I'm here because they're remaking The Addams Family.
Yes,
And-
I'm so excited.
Me too. And I read that because Gomez, the dad, is like obsessed with Morticia and just like worships the ground that she walks on. And they said the idea was the whole family was a flip side of the modern American family where men were sort of not appreciating their wives.
Yeah, they were like, oh, this old ball and chain.
Right. So they're like, the best way to punk that is to just like make the wife the most majestic person in the home, as they should be. Were you a Morticia Addams gal? Or Wednesday? I guess you were a child.
Yes, that's true. Again, a
Yeah.
child. Yes. No, definitely very Wednesday-esque. One
Yes.
could say. I did dress as like there's this picture of me. I've dressed as like an evil queen on my 10th birthday. My birthday is not near Halloween, as we've established, and I just chose to dress like that for my birthday for no reason. Like you'll see a picture and you'll be like, "Oh, that must be Halloween," and it's like, no, that was just
That was
how
her. That was a christening.
Yeah, I was like, I'm double digits now.
Wow. You got to go through it.
Yeah, and I just had like this long black wig with a silver streak down the
Oh,
side.
that's so good. Kind of like the granny. I think in my mind I wanted to be a lurch, and also that was my type, but I was more of a Pugsley, if we're being honest.
Oh.
It's fine. I grew out of it.
Yes, you did.
Thank you. So, softball, we've got blood, we've got pitches, we've got catches, we've got Larry's window paneling. Everything is happening at once.
Everything's happening.
You were 14, which, that's a ripe time to awaken.
I would say like between 11 and 14. These were the prime, queer softball years.
Was it starting to click in more just like I'm drawn to these characters that I'm like, there's something different about me?
I think so. I think the lack of like boy craziness also started to make something clue in. Like I just didn't. Everyone had in their lockers, because I went to middle school, so it was just grade 7 and 8. Terrible time. What horrible idea. They're like, this will prepare them for high school, and it's like, no, this will create the worst bullying of your life.
No.
But I remember like everyone having pictures in their locker of boys they were into, and I didn't, but I still don't think I had clued in that all of the gals that I was like constantly in awe of, or like, oh, I want to be like them, or like I want to play ball like them, or there were these like twins in my choir, because yes, I was a choir kid.
Were you an alto?
I was an alto.
That's the goths range.
Yes, which is funny because I then went to university as a lyric soprano later in life. My voice changed, but
oh wow, okay.
I was an alto who sometimes sang tenor. I was like the only girl in the alto section. But I remember there were these like very beautiful like twins in the soprano section, and I'd always be like, I want to be a soprano, but like I didn't clue in at the time that I definitely was like staring at them for other reasons.
Oh my God, twin sopranos? What a vision.
I know.
Were they just like angelic beauties?
They were.
Bless.
Yeah.
And then you were just singing tenor?
Yeah, just singing tenor in the corner.
Black bangs down. You're holding a lantern for some reason. Everyone's like, what's happening?
Yeah. It was just, I thought like it was just like a Fisher Price, like,
just in case the power went out.
Yeah,
Be prepared. So that makes sense. That's okay. So you're starting to kind of tip over. You're noticing things other people like that you don't. Big time for me too. I was big into the Spice Girls in high school.
Yeah. I was going to say, I blame the Spice Girl dolls specifically.
And
not just the Spice Girls, but the Spice Girl dolls.
Which were like an offshoot of Barbie, like the plastic.
Yeah, for making me queer also.
I had the Jerry. Did you have one?
Oh, I had all 5.
Yes.
I had all 5 originals.
Did you take them out of the box? Did they perform, or were they?
Oh, they performed.
Take us there.
Mother, stop listening if you're listening to this podcast now.
No.
Just
oh,
stop
I
listening.
see where this is going. Bit of plastic mashing.
Yeah, the Spice Girl dolls definitely scissored.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Slow clap starts.
Mel C and Mel B. I'm so sorry.
That's right. Thank you. What a slow clap. It was Mel B and Mel C?
I know. I'm so sorry for
What a combo.
I know.
Was it an
epic combo?
The names too. It's really easy to.
Yeah, I was definitely like a sporty Spice, and I was always mad that everyone made me be posh, when you'd play in the schoolyard.
Right.
Because I had a little bob, and I guess I wore a lot of black, so it makes sense. But I was like, posh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, she's not a listener. Victoria Beckham is not a listener to You Made Me Queer.
No?
But sorry if you are.
Yet.
That's right, yet. The least interesting of the Spice Girls.
It's true. Although Baby was the one I wasn't as into. I didn't identify. And then I think also, I also love Jerry, obviously. I mean, yeah.
I think Baby probably had the hardest transition for obvious reasons. When you're like, I'm the cute young one, but, your mortal coil continues to shed off you and you get older. It's weird to be like, I'm Baby. And you're like,
I mean, no kink shaming, but yeah.
No, true. It does get kinkier as it goes on. And you're like, but you're 60.
Yeah, I think it's because I was like, I was definitely the little unknowingly bisexual tomboy. So I was just like, I'm not into pink. This is weird. But then I loved how fabulous Jerry was.
Oh
and
my
I
God.
definitely... And I think there's this thing, I think that's why a lot of women also love drag, because it's like and drag queens because it just like it's very confusing and also satisfying. And I remember as a kid being like, Mom, like for Halloween, can I be a girl dressed as a boy dressed as a girl? Like I just there was no in between. I either was like full on boys clothes, well, quote unquote boys clothes. Again, why do we gender clothes?
Well,
But
this was the 90s or the whatever. We're
Yeah.
like,
yeah, it was like very tomboy. I skateboarded. I like wanted to just always wear boys clothes or just be in full on like lashes and
That's
sparkles and
theater drag.
there was no in between, and there still isn't.
Yeah, and I respect that. Yeah, the Spice Girls were very like, because the other boy bands or whatever, like none of them had, it wasn't like, they just had their names. It's not like one of the boy band people was called like Crash or like Sports Car or like whatever. That was very like the Spice Girls to be like, they're like 5 different intense drag queens. Absolutely. I think that's
Yeah.
proto drag for my life.
Yeah.
Spice Girls. I've never dressed up like a Spice Girl. But I did at one point know the full choreography to Spice Girls Live at Wembley Stadium, released on VHS. And I did it pretty well, if I can say.
And that is also to blame, right?
I
for
do.
making
I
you
mean,
queer.
100%. And also, it was very easy. Like, they could have set the bar a little higher. Looking back, I'm disappointed in them, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh, yeah. But
lot
you know
of,
what?
like,
It's accessible
pivots.
and attainable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all for Posh.
I'm not a dancer, so.
Well, okay. Yeah,
so,
because
you know, I respect that I can,
you're
bust
a mover.
out a little, like, stop right now.
Stop was
I just started doing the
100%.
Macarena for those listening for no
know.
reason. I just realized I was like, well, that is not the right dance.
I wasn't going to call you out because it's a podcast.
Mm.
But if you're seeing that, that must have been very confusing for you. So we had the Spice Girls here. Okay, great. And how old were you for that? Oh, wait, this was the
all,
doll.
like-
This was Scissor Dolls.
yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I mean, this was all pre-12. I'm jumping. Keep up.
I'm trying.
Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm jumping between the teen years and the child years.
Okay.
But there was the Spice Girls. Then throughout the teenage years, we started venturing into softball, stopped softball, and then and got very into punk rock also. So
Yes.
Brody Dahl.
I'm out. I don't know who
Wow.
that is.
Lead singer of the Distillers. Definitely also one of those like confusing, do I want to be like her or
Okay. Is this like
with
a
her
Fifi
moments.
Dobson vibe?
no.
Okay.
This is like real like trashy Melbourne, Australia,
oh,
like
great.
punk rock. Yeah. Yeah. Full like spiky egg white hair.
Did you ever have a big spiky situation?
I did not. I know it's quite funny that I was very into punk because I was also like a very studious choir kid and like an absolute super nerd.
Because your mom was strict. You had to get good grades.
I had well, I didn't have to. I was born that way.
Wow.
And then I
It
peaked
wasn't
at
difficult.
8. Yeah, I was a gifted child who then
That's the curse.
could not handle university. The curse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this rocker person, how did you find this music? We didn't have Spotify or things like that then. You had to hear things on the radio.
Yes. So I discovered it through I guess in middle school was the only time I've had a solid group of friends. I've always been like a little butterfly who floats around. But in middle school, that was the only time I had a solid group of friends. And we sat at the cafeteria table because you had to like choose the people you sat with for the rest of the school year.
Oh,
And
you were like
so-
stuck at the table?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you had to choose wisely because that would determine your fate for the rest of middle school. So I sat at a table with all of the skater boys who are like the kind of misfit guys.
I had crushes on all those boys.
And then I was the only girl at the table. And then any like ESL students who were like horribly bullied and made fun of and no one else wanted to sit with.
oh,
And
so it was the Misfits.
yeah, and I was like, of
Yes.
course I'm gonna sit here. Yeah, it was a very weird and also like very white middle school. So essentially, it was truly the group of misfits. Anyone who was othered in some way sat at our table. But I was the only girl, and they were my best buds. And so anyone who had like a cooler older sibling, that's how you discovered the cool music.
Right. Someone
Yeah.
would like slip you a mixtape from like my sister had this music or something.
Yeah.
That's
These were like Napster ripoff, LimeWire ripoff
Yep.
CDs at the time. I know I said I'm 333, but
Same.
I was a little too young for the cassette tape.
Oh,
at
I
the
see.
time.
Bit of a slam for me. So if
Wow.
you don't know what Napster or LimeWire is, basically if you could download music, it would take you 4 days to download like a few songs. I'm not kidding. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like you'd be like, oh, 40%, and then it would just pause, and you'd be like, oh, it's fine. I'll go about my
And
life. and-
maybe more if you grew up in a lower income household like I did, because
You-
we
that
had
dial-up,
dial-up
baby. Yes.
forever.
Or it would get to like 98%, and you're like,
Yeah.
I almost got baby one more time. And then it would just cancel. You'd be
Yeah.
like, and then you would have to do it again. That's how I finally got my hands on Ani DeFranco, which was my, whoever,
Ooh.
what's the name of your punk rocker?
Brody doll.
Brody doll. My
Yeah.
Brody doll was Ani DeFranco and a bit Lisa Loeb, although, she's like a
I
bee.
like a Lisa Loeb. I feel like I'm in my Lisa Loeb phase in life now, actually. Like, I've
Okay.
been very into, like, wearing quirky glasses, colored glasses, so that I don't have to have a personality anymore. Like, I feel like she has a bit of, like, a kooky, like, kindergarten teacher auntie vibe.
Yep.
And I've been really into, like, wearing, like, big chunky earrings and, like, colorful glasses lately. So, you know.
100%. She's like the grade 2 art teacher.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like, you guys ready for construction paper? These cute little like cat glasses.
Yes, as I approach my mid-30s, I think it's a marvel that I ever played a sexy vampire on a show, because I feel like I'm slowly drifting towards, my kooky auntie phase.
Oh my God. I can't wait till we're all there. I feel like that's we talk about what is a world peace world? It's all of us becoming that Lisa Loeb vibe.
Yeah,
She's chill as hell.
yeah,
You listen to Stay, you can't get mad.
No, you
no wars
can't.
can exist.
you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to wear, I'm pretty much wearing like
Lisa Loeb would wear this, not the
She would.
chains.
She would.
Yeah.
Not the chains. See, there's remnants of the punk rock past coming
Totally.
in. But I just want to wear like moo-moos for the rest of my days and be
Yeah.
like, you are all valid, loved, and worthy children. Like,
Lisa
hello, it is your pansexual auntie. Like,
Meanwhile, Lisa Loeb's like, I'm not just the glasses, guys. Like
Yeah.
30 years on.
yeah.
And like, that's all she is. She's fine. She's great. She's a legend.
You say.
Singer.
See, there you
Wikipedia's
go.
right. I told you we'd get it out of her.
You got 2 notes. Yeah.
So listen, even though our schedule was flexible today, you might say pansexual, we started slightly late, time has shifted. I am doing mental calculations in my head, and we're now at the time of the show.
Whoa.
What?
I don't know. I guess got excited.
No, that's fine. I was like, are you mad?
I was like,
we're at
it
the
was
time.
an early
I know.
reaction.
That's on me. I came into that hard, and it should have been, you said Lisa Loeb, and then I was Fast and the Furious. But Natasha, what's happening? Natasha, would you like to play a game?
I feel like I have no choice. So let's say yes. No, I'm kidding. Yes, and. What?
You got it. And this game is called Queer, Queerer, Queerest. Are you ready for the rules?
I'm so ready.
Thanks so much. This game is called Queer, Queer, Queerest. I'm going to give you 3 things. 3 things. Your job is to put them in order from least queer to most queer and tell me why.
Oh no.
You got this. But because we're at FanExpo Live, you can play along in the audience. So hold up your smartphone,
Wow.
phablet,
Oh my gosh,
tablet,
I love this.
or laptop computer, scan that QR code, or you can go to menti.com and use code 94201938 to go to the live poll. So Natasha, you do not look at the screen because this is going to show live results in a moment.
What? Oh, okay.
Do you understand?
So people get to see. Oh, this is fun. So they get to see if their answers are similar to mine.
That's one of the things we can learn
Interesting.
about people
All
today.
4 people who came to see me. Thank you so much, by the way.
We're going to cut that part out. The hundreds of people here, get ready to play.
Yes. You know what, though? There are thousands of people in other countries listening.
And this lives ad infinitum. So
Yeah.
people could, long after you and I are both
Yeah.
husks in the ground, they'll be enjoying this sweet audio program, and they'll say, "What? There was a time when everyone wasn't queer."
Yeah, that is the future I want.
If
hope
I have
so.
anything to say about it, and you do, and Lisa Loeb does, but we digress. So there are 3 things I'm going to give you. Think carefully, least queer to most queer. Thing number 1, monogrammed clothing. And so, folks, if you have it's not on the screen. We're going to figure that out. But basically,
I'm not supposed to look yet?
You're not supposed to look because all 3
okay.
things are up there. Monogrammed clothing.
Okay.
Thing number 2, shrimp whiskers. So you know in some Mediterranean countries, they serve shrimp with the face still on, and they have those black eyes, and they have all the whiskery bits.
Yeah.
Shrimp whiskers on their own. That's thing number 2. Thing number 3, that razor's edge moment when a s'more is just between toasted to perfection and full throttle fireball. You don't want it to ignite, but you want it to be perfectly toasted. You're riding that sweet little edge there. So those are your things: monogram clothing, shrimp whiskers, the razor's edge between a toasted to perfection s'more, and full throttle fireball. I'm so ready for this.
Queerest?
Yeah, least queer to most queer. Tell me why. Go.
Boy, okay. Least queer is the s'more situation. Just because it's giving me like hetero, basic gal fall vibes. I don't know.
So, okay, but only basic people eat s'mores, or only basic people let s'mores burn?
No, but I thought they're not supposed to burn though. You said it's the perfect time.
You're right.
Right?
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like my queer chaos, it's going to be one way or the other, like overdone or not.
Okay, right.
I don't,
You're
it's
an
giving
Aries.
Me, it's giving me like hetero autumn vibes,
Yeah.
So out of these particular,
What are you, pumpkin spice basic bitches?
listen, I like pumpkin spice as
Same.
much as the next white woman. Let's be real.
Thanks for bringing race into it, Natasha.
Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here complaining. No. So that's the least queer out
Okay.
of these. Queerer, the middle would go the shrimp whiskers.
Okay.
I'm gonna put that in the middle as like queerer.
Okay.
Because I think that it is very common in many cultures to eat it just as it is. People of all gender,
Oh, okay. So it's a more like it's showing diversity.
I don't think it. I think that anyone, would eat that of any orientation in certain cultures.
Okay.
But in North American culture, I'm going to go with that's like a little bit queerer because, we just have better taste as queers. And I think that's like how it's supposed to eat. It's delicate. It's beautiful.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, are you calling shrimp whiskers delicate and
Yes.
beautiful? Because I can't say the term shrimp whiskers without getting a cold chill up my entire back. It's so gross to me. But you know what? That's fine. I'm not negating your answer.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. So the queerest
But
is...
it's classier. Like, even if you're like, oh, that's disgusting. If you went to a nice restaurant, you would still be like, if they didn't have the whiskers on them, you'd be like, ugh, what are these from Costco freezers?
Truly, where are we? Red Lobster at the Atrium?
Yeah.
That's a very local reference. Local jokes get local work, and
But
that's
then you're
my
just
fault.
like, delicious. And you just like throw them under your table. Just like into
Totally.
your clutch after. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm into eating shrimp whiskers.
Okay.
I'm just saying they seem queerer to me than
They're a
this
marker of prestige.
yes, and we are superior. Than a marshmallow. And then queerest out of these, I'm gonna go monogrammed clothing. Very dapper. Really love this. But it can go either way, because monogram clothing to me can also signify like, I don't know, it's giving me like Republican vibes, like
I get
very
that.
waspy, fancy.
It's probably like a cardigan with an ascot combo.
But I think like we have taken it back and we've reclaimed it. And I remember when I lived with my ex-girlfriend, I had actually gotten some like monogrammed hers and hers pillowcases that said hers and hers instead of his and hers. But what I actually did was at H&M home, I like stole the hers out of a his and hers package and I just like swapped them. I guess it's not stealing because I swapped them.
No, you didn't take more than you paid for.
No, it's true.
You just
but
messed with the merch.
I swapped them, yeah.
And also, H&M, shame on you
Yeah.
for bringing your heteronormative pillow bullshit to our homes.
Yeah.
Good for you. Keep it up. Also, yes, I do want to say, because you say Republican, I think monogram clothing, two roads diverge in a yellow wood, where one goes towards a Republican woman in her early 60s or roller derby girls, which is like the queerest you can get. That's
true.
monograms.
True. Or a very closeted Republican man, perhaps.
Right down the middle, which
yeah.
could be me. I'm not a Republican. I'm not closeted. Could you imagine I was closeted doing this show? Don't tell anyone. Great. So we got your answers, and I can see your answers. I gestured with my radio arms out to the crowd. So you said least queer was monogrammed clothing. A direct contradiction of Natasha. Queerer, the razor's edge between a toasted to perfection s'more and full throttle fireball, and queerest, shrimp whiskers.
Wow.
I mean, if by queerest you mean most, like blood-curdlingly disgusting, correct, but let me check your marks real quick so I remember what you said. Carry the 1, 2, 3, A.
You're mathing.
And
wow.
Z or Z for our American listeners. Congratulations, Natasha. You got 100%. You are, in fact, a queer person.
Oh, thank you. I was so worried for a while.
I know. It was touch and go for a little bit.
It was.
Well, listen, that was all a pure joy. And, Natasha, I could talk to you forever, and I'm sure that everyone in this room could listen to you. I'm trying to go back to my slide, and it's, I don't know. It's not going to happen. So,
Terrible.
Here we go. I got it.
Oh,
guys, I got it. Bam. Click. No. Are we there? We're there. We're back. Can you see it on the screen? No, and that's fine. And that's on you. But here we are, and this was just an absolute joy. So, Natasha, before I say goodbye, and I really don't want to, is there anything you would like to plug?
Ooh, well, I mean, I guess folks will be listening to this later, so never mind. I've been raising money for safe abortion access to my American pals. Yay!
Yeah.
So I did a fundraiser where I'm giving away the original Betty shirt from season 1 of Carmilla.
Yes.
But I guess for folks in the room, you can still get little raffle tickets. It's a little raffle. But I'm going to do the draw at exactly 11:59 Eastern Standard Time.
On which day?
Today.
Oh,
so
my God.
for listeners, I'm sorry.
If you're listening in the future and we still have draconian laws in the U.S., please continue to donate to safe abortion access.
I think that would be great.
Hopefully by the time you listen to this, you'll be like, there weren't safe abortions?
I really hope so.
But I mean, God. Anyway, who knows? Yes, so that's great. So how can folks buy a raffle ticket?
They can go to my Instagram or my Twitter, which is @NatVanlis, and they can check out the links in my bio to go do that. In terms of projects and things, there's some stuff, but I can't say yet.
Those goddamn NDAs, right? Tell me about it. I would say maybe then as a general plug, buy Lisa Loeb's Nine Tails album, which I think has Stay on it. Always a great reference. Support your Lisa Loeb or your local Lisa Loeb equivalent, wherever you're listening from. I see actually some great Lisa Loeb-esque glasses in the audience today. They're good. So, the style lives on.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Natasha. It has been a pleasure to have you. And I do want to say, I started this conversation very queer, and talking to you has made me queerer than ever.
Oh, you blamed me.
That's an appropriate reaction.
Yeah. I made you queer, as I'm sure my character also is to blame.
Oh my God.
For many around.
Carmilla, if you want to talk about queer bait, go watch Carmilla. Go watch Carmilla the movie. Be safe. Dress like C-3PO. Do whatever you want this weekend. We're so happy to see you at Canada FanExpo, and I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. What? I almost. You know when you almost say something, you're like, don't say that. I almost said, get a safe abortion, but that's not the final thought. That's not the final thought. Instead, experiment with cosplay in a safe space. I love you. Good night. Well, you can ask her. Are you straight up? Is there anything you need before?